You're smart. You've read the books. You've watched the videos. But somehow, you still lose her respect. You don't beg. You don't chase. And yet, she pulls away. What if I told you that intelligence doesn't protect you from failure with women, awareness does? You see, smart men fall hardest not because they're weak, but because they ignore 9 fatal traps that every emotionally strong man must avoid. These aren't just mistakes. They are subtle forms of self-betrayal, being too available, over-explaining, giving in when you should walk away. Each one seems harmless until it kills attraction silently, permanently. Right now, you're not being tested on how much you know. You're being tested on how much you embody, because women don't respond to logic. They respond to energy, to posture, to presence, to a man who doesn't flinch. So if you're done repeating invisible mistakes that keep robbing you of power like this video, subscribe, hit the bell and comment below. I rise above weakness. Let's break the cycle. You don't realize it at first, because it's subtle. It hides behind what sounds like care, like attentiveness, like affection. Did that message upset you? Are you still into this? Was that okay? Do you still like me? It starts there, but to her, it sounds like fear. It feels like insecurity wrapped in affection. You think you're being transparent, vulnerable, emotionally available. But what she feels is this: you're asking her to approve of you, to make you feel okay in her presence, to constantly reassure you that you're still enough. And in that moment, she doesn't feel turned on. She feels pressure, because now it's her job to hold your self-worth together. And no woman wants that job, not even the most nurturing one. A man who needs constant validation becomes emotionally expensive. He drains more than he gives. Why? Because he doesn't walk into the room owning himself. He walks in asking, "Am I good enough yet?" And worse, he waits for her answer. Smart men know validation isn't something you ask for. It's something you embody. When you walk with purpose, you don't need applause. When you live by values, you don't need her permission. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" The man who constantly seeks validation from a woman hasn't demanded the best from himself yet. He's outsourcing what should be forged internally. You can love a woman deeply. You can pursue her with fire and clarity. But the moment you start needing her approval to feel whole, you stop being her man and start becoming her project. She'll nurture you at first, try to reassure you, but eventually she will pull away. Not because she stopped caring, but because she can't carry your self-respect in hers. There's a moment in every woman's heart when she asks silently, "Can I trust him to stand firm when I'm unsure of myself?" If the answer is no, she won't say it. She'll just feel it and act accordingly. Validation must come from your code, from the man you see in the mirror before she ever looks at you. You say, "But what if I really care?" Good, then lead with care, not need. Need whispers, "Please love me." Care says, "I already love me and I'm offering something real." She will always feel the difference. She will always respond to the second one. The first she may entertain, but she'll never follow, because a woman can love you, support you, be proud of you. But she will only surrender to you if you already stand without needing her to hold you up. That's the quiet confidence of a Stoic man. That's the man she cannot replace. You meet her, she's captivating. Her smile ignites something inside you. Maybe it's chemistry, maybe it's fantasy. And just like that, you want to give. Your time, your attention, your energy, your plans. She texts, you drop everything. She hints at a problem, you rush to fix it. You start imagining vacations, introductions to friends, maybe even a future, all before she's truly earned access to your heart. You think you're being generous. You think you're standing out. But to her, it signals something dangerous. This man's value must be low if he's offering everything before I've even chosen him. It's brutal, yes, but it's true. Women do not fall in love with effort that's handed out recklessly. They fall for a man who knows his worth, a man who measures his investment, because what he offers has weight. When you overinvest too soon, you rob her of the thrill of earning you. And whether she's aware of it or not, a woman needs to feel that you are not fully accessible to just anyone. She may smile at your kindness, but deep down she wonders if it was this easy to get him. How many others have had the same version of him? And that thought, it kills the mystery, the polarity, the magnetism. Smart men know this. You do not withhold to manipulate. You withhold to filter who is genuinely interested from who is just enjoying the ride, to filter emotional reciprocity from temporary excitement, because the man who invests too fast ends up bankrupt emotionally and spiritually. He builds castles on sand and wonders why they collapse at the first sign of reality. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Apply that to your presence, your attention, your vulnerability. Do not offer them to fill silence. Do not offer them to buy affection. Offer them because you've seen who she is and you've judged her worthy of something rare, access to your inner world. Until then, hold the line. Let her wonder a little. Let her pursue. Let the connection earn its own gravity. Because when a woman senses that you're not in a rush to give everything, she leans in. Not because you played games, but because you held your ground. You became the man who doesn't flood a new connection with fireworks, but builds it brick by brick with intention. That man, he's irresistible. Because he doesn't need to prove his value. He moves with it. And in that movement, he makes every gesture count. Because nothing is cheap when it comes from a man who truly values himself. She says she's fine. She smiles politely. She tells you not to worry. And you, believing her words, carry on. But what you didn't hear was what she didn't say. Her tone shifted. Her responses got shorter. She took just a second longer to reply. She laughed, but her eyes didn't follow. And you missed it, because you listened to the surface, not the signal underneath. This is where average men fail. They assume women communicate like men, direct, precise, logical. But women, especially those connected to their emotions, speak in energy. They say nothing's wrong when they're screaming for reassurance inside. They act calm when they're testing your presence. They withdraw not to disappear, but to see if you'll notice they're missing. To her, it's not a game. It's a test of attunement. Because here's the truth, a woman doesn't want a man who's emotionally needy, but she desperately wants a man who's emotionally aware. The difference: neediness pulls on her for constant reassurance. Awareness notices when her spirit is flickering and leans in quietly. You don't need to analyze her. You just need to notice. To ask, "You seem a little quieter today. What's really going on?" Not in fear, not in pressure, just in stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change." It is the truth I'm after. The Stoic man doesn't need to be right. He needs to be present. And presence means listening with your intuition, not just your ears. When you ignore her signals, you send a silent message: "I'm not paying attention." And when a woman feels unseen, she slowly starts detaching, first emotionally, then physically, until one day she's gone and you're left confused, wondering what changed. What changed wasn't her. It was your ability to tune in. The smart man, the grounded man, understands that reading her signals is not about decoding a puzzle. It's about honoring her interior world. It's about choosing to stay connected even when she struggles to express herself. Because often she's not asking you to fix anything. She's asking you to feel with her, to step into the space between words and hold it with strength. That's how you build emotional trust, not by solving, but by showing up again and again until she knows you hear me even when I'm silent. And when she knows that you don't just win her attention, you earn her surrender. She says something sharp. Maybe it cuts a little. Maybe it feels disrespectful. You feel that fire rise in your chest, the instant urge to defend, correct, confront. And just like that, you react. You snap back, or you shut down, or you try to win the moment with logic, sarcasm, or silence. In your mind, you're standing your ground. You're showing her you're not to be messed with. But to her, you've just confirmed her worst fear: you're not safe when it gets emotional. She doesn't remember what was said. She remembers how you lost yourself. See, in every emotionally charged moment, you're given a test, not of strength, but of centeredness. And men who react emotionally fail that test. Because when you react, you give your power away. You allow her chaos to dictate your presence. You mirror her instability instead of anchoring it. It's like being in a storm and jumping overboard when she was hoping you'd steer the ship. The Stoic man responds, he doesn't react. Responding is a decision. It's choosing clarity over ego. It's pausing, breathing, and then saying what needs to be said without force. Epictetus taught any person capable of angering you becomes your master, and he's right. If she can push your buttons with a tone, if your peace is that easy to steal, then you don't have peace. You have a mask. And masks fall apart under pressure. Here's what smart men do differently when tension rises. They slow down. They don't deny their emotions. They observe them. They ask, what part of me feels threatened right now? They respond not to dominate, but to lead. They understand this. You don't win by being louder. You win by being calmer. Because calm is magnetic. It disarms the fire. It earns her respect without force. And often once your calm enters the room, hers returns. When you respond, you say, I'm not here to react to your fire. I'm here to contain it without burning. That doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means choosing strength with precision, not with volume. She may challenge you, test you, even try to provoke you. But if you hold the frame, if you choose presence over pride, she sees it. And something deep inside her softens, because now she knows you're not just a man. You're a man who leads himself. And that kind of man she can trust. She can lean on, she can let go with, because you've shown her no matter what storm comes, I don't move unless I choose to. You think you're being romantic. You tell her she's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. You agree with everything she says. You tell her she's perfect, that she could never do wrong, that you'd do anything just to keep her. You think this is love. She should be flattered, right? But instead, she pulls away. Not because she doesn't want to be loved, not because she doesn't enjoy being admired, but because you've made a mistake that kills polarity. You've started worshiping her instead of actually knowing her. You see, admiration is healthy. Respect is powerful. Desire is magnetic. But worship puts her on a pedestal. Worship separates her from humanity. Worship makes her your God, and no woman wants to be your God. Why? Because deep down she knows the truth. She's not perfect. She has flaws, fears, insecurities, moments when she doubts herself. And when you pretend she's flawless, she doesn't feel seen, she feels invisible. She starts wondering, if you see me as perfect, what will happen the first time I show you I'm not? That's not intimacy, that's fantasy. And women, especially the grounded, high-value ones, don't crave fantasy. They crave depth. They want to be known. All of them, not just the parts that sparkle. When you worship her, you disconnect from your power. You position yourself below her, and she senses it. You lose mystery. You lose challenge. You lose gravity. The Stoic man loves a woman deeply, but never blindly. He sees her fully, not just her beauty, but her complexity. Marcus Aurelius said, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. Apply this to love. Seek the truth of who she is, not the projection of who you want her to be. See her, learn her, listen when she's quiet. Notice what scares her. Admire the strength it took for her to survive what she never talks about. That's real knowing. And once you know her, you love from truth, not fantasy. You don't pedestal her, you hold her, you challenge her, you inspire her. Because now you're no longer the man desperate to prove your love. You're the man who brings clarity into her chaos. And that man doesn't just turn her on, he opens her up to trust, to softness, to surrender, because now she knows you don't love her to feel worthy. You love her because you already are. She's upset. You ask what's wrong. She says she doesn't know, or worse, she says nothing. But everything in her body says otherwise. The way she moves, the tone of her voice, the shift in her presence. And you, thinking like a man, start reaching for logic. Just tell me what happened. That doesn't make sense. You're overthinking this. You believe that if you can just present the right reasoning, you'll fix the moment, make the discomfort disappear, restore the balance. But what you don't realize is you've just made her feel alone. Because emotion doesn't respond to logic. Emotion responds to presence. Smart men know a woman in her feelings is not asking for solutions. She's asking for safety. And safety doesn't come from analysis. It comes from attunement. Imagine she's standing in a storm, wind swirling, rain pounding, and instead of standing beside her, you critique the weather. You break it down. You name the pressure system. You explain how irrational it is to stand in the rain. But what she needed was for you to take her hand and say, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. That's emotional leadership. That's masculine grounding. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The outside event is her emotion, but your power lies in your response. When you stop needing her feelings to make logical sense, you become free. You stop arguing, you stop fixing, you start listening not to her words, but to her heart. You don't tell her she's wrong to feel what she feels. You let her move through it knowing you won't flinch, knowing your presence won't collapse. She's not asking you to make the storm go away. She's asking if you'll hold her hand until it passes. That's all. You don't lose your masculinity by doing this. You prove it. Because it's easy to stay centered when everything is calm. But when the feminine spins in chaos and you breathe deeper instead of breaking, that's when she knows, this man can handle all of me. Not just the sexy, not just the playful, but the irrational, the emotional, the scared and stormy parts too. And once she feels that, she softens. Not because you tamed her, but because you held her without trying to change her. That is power. You want to be kind. You want to be respectful. You want to make sure she feels safe in your presence. So little by little, you start softening your edge. You shrink your voice. You withhold your truth. You bury your desire under politeness. You stop leading because you don't want to seem controlling. You stop asserting because you don't want to seem aggressive. You think this is what she wants. You think this is how a good man behaves. But then something strange happens. The more considerate you become, the more distant she gets. She smiles. She thanks you. But something is missing. That hunger in her eyes gone. That playful tension flat. That magnetic pull between man and woman replaced with something dull, safe, boring. And you wonder, what did I do wrong? You stopped being dangerous. You started apologizing for your masculinity, not with words, but with your energy. And women feel it, see your masculinity, your groundedness, decisiveness, strength, clarity. It's not a threat. It's what polarizes her into her feminine. It's what creates the space for her to relax, to trust, to melt. But when you suppress it, when you second-guess every move, when you lead with fear of offending, you don't create safety, you create uncertainty. Because now she's wondering, if I fall apart, can he hold me? If I test him, will he stand firm? If I surrender, is he strong enough to catch me? And if the answer feels like no, she stays guarded. Not because she wants to be the man, but because she has to protect herself from a man who refuses to fully embody his own strength. The Stoic man doesn't apologize for being masculine. He refines it. He channels it. He leads from it. With stillness, with depth, with purpose. He doesn't dominate, but he doesn't shrink either. He simply exists fully, and that energy speaks louder than words. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." If you are a man, be that fully, not a caricature, not a tyrant, not a passive pleaser, but a grounded force that does not ask for permission to be what it already is. You don't apologize for your assertiveness. You own it through kindness. You don't hide your desire. You express it without neediness. You walk into the room not to be chosen, but to choose. And in doing so, you awaken the feminine in her that has been waiting, starving for something real to respond to. That's how you become unforgettable. Not by being nice, but by being a man she can feel before you even touch her. You tell yourself you're just being peaceful. You avoid arguments. You back down from conflict. You laugh off discomfort. You say yes when your gut says no, just to keep things smooth. You think this is love, harmony, emotional maturity. But deep down you're afraid. Afraid of her reaction. Afraid of disappointing her. Afraid of losing her. So you trade truth for approval. And in doing so, you kill the tension. But here's the secret: tension isn't bad. Unnecessary tension is. Necessary tension is sacred. It's what creates polarity, that unmistakable charge between masculine and feminine. It's in the way you hold your boundary when she pushes. It's in the fire behind your no when she tests your softness. It's in your willingness to risk discomfort to keep truth alive between you. When you avoid that tension, you become agreeable, predictable, forgettable. You become the man she respects less and less, even as she says you're so sweet. Why? Because she doesn't feel you. She doesn't feel the weight of your presence, the clarity of your spine, the edge of your truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Likewise, don't fear tension. Fear the death of authenticity in your relationships, because a relationship without tension is a relationship without growth. It's stale, stagnant, polite, but not passionate. A woman wants a man who can challenge her, who can say, "I disagree and I still love you," who can hold space for disagreement without breaking connection. The Stoic man welcomes tension when it protects the sacred. He knows that truth is more important than comfort, and he leads with that truth. Even if her voice rises, even if emotions swell, even if she walks out the door because he refuses to abandon his integrity for the illusion of peace. And ironically, that's the man she trusts most, because he won't lie to her just to make her happy. He won't shapeshift to avoid a difficult moment. He's honest, he's steady, he's bold without being cruel. And that boldness creates the safe container where her wildness can dance freely. Don't avoid tension, learn to hold it. Because when you can breathe through it, lead through it, stay grounded in it, you become the rarest man in the room. Not because you always agree, but because you always stay. She enters your life. Suddenly, everything revolves around her. Your routines shift. Your goals get softer. Your time disappears into her world. You cancel the gym. You postpone that project. You let go of the things that once defined you, all in the name of love. You think you're being devoted, present, available, but she feels it, and she won't tell you directly, but something inside her begins to turn. She starts to lose respect, because the man who orbits a woman abandons his gravity, and once a man loses gravity, he stops being the man. See your mission. Your purpose is not some side quest. It's the core of your masculine identity. It's the reason your energy has direction. It's what made her attracted to you in the first place. She felt your ambition, your discipline, your fire for something beyond her. That's what ignited her feminine, not your devotion to her, but your devotion to a purpose larger than her. When you let go of that, you become emotionally dependent. You make her your mission, and she wasn't designed to carry that weight. Because when a man forgets his mission, he begins to cling. And when he clings, he starts shrinking. Suddenly, she's not following a leader. She's babysitting a man who lost himself in her. And no matter how much she loves you, she will start to pull back. Not because she's ungrateful, but because you became replaceable. The Stoic man never forgets this purpose, first relationship second, but never in opposition. Your purpose doesn't mean ignoring her. It means leading with her, not for her. It means staying so rooted in who you are that she feels safer beside you, not suffocated by you. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, be that man, not for her, but because that's who you were before she arrived and who you'll be, regardless of where she goes." When a woman sees that you're unmoved by approval, unshaken by rejection, and unwavering in your mission, she doesn't just love you, she respects you, she trusts you, she follows your lead, not because she's weak, but because she knows you won't disappear into her shadow. The man on his mission lives with fire in his chest and peace in his spine. He chooses love, but he never needs it to feel alive. And that man, she never forgets. You came here thinking you just needed more knowledge, but what you needed was awareness. Awareness of your tone, your boundaries, your willingness to walk away without fear. You've seen the 9 fatal mistakes, not because you're dumb, but because you were never taught what real masculine control looks like. Now, you know attraction is not created, it's protected. You don't perform for her. You hold frame, you don't react, you respond, you don't chase, you choose. That's what smart men do when they finally stop intellectualizing women and start leading themselves. If you're ready to leave the old habits behind, like this video, subscribe and comment below. I command my path. Walk sharp, stay rooted. The strongest men don't fight for attention, they command it in silence.